David has asked that we invite Dijla Al-Rekabi to speak tonight. Dijla came to Calgary from Iraq in 1976, graduated from the University of Calgary, and is now a Diversity and Learning Support Advisor with the Calgary Board of Education. She met David in 2003, and as with so many, he has become an influence and source of encouragement to her in her career and in her life. Dijla.
Thank you so much. And excuse me, I'm just having a little bit of a problem when I speak, as I took an appliance from my mouth. I've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, so I apologize if I don't speak as clearly as I usually do. Well, the question since when I did anyway. So good evening all. This day means a lot to me. I truly feel so privileged given this opportunity to share with Dr. Swann, his family, and with the friends how special he is to me and to those he touched the lives of. Ideally, given the type of the occasions, of course, we're talking about someone celebrating their birthday, so they wanted to hear all the good things that their family, their friends, and the people who know them say about them. And it's such a flattering feeling. And he doesn't mind it, I'm sure. And sometimes maybe what we say sounds so exaggerated, such an exaggeration in the... No, eh? That's what I thought. You wouldn't mind it at all. And today, I just wanted to say this, that I am not here to talk about Dr. David Swann, the politician. I'm talking about Dr. David Swann, how I first came to know him in 2003 and under which circumstances. So I met Dr. Swann in 2003, to be precise, on March, when I joined the Dr. Irma Parhad program at the University of Calgary, shortly after the war and the occupation of Iraq took place. The fall of Baghdad shook me deeply. Every time I remember how I felt at that moment, I never fail to realize how privileged I was to have met Dr. Swann at the right time, if not at the right moment. The year 2003 was also the year in which I started to be more involved publicly with issues that matter to humanity and the well-being of the world. Dr. Swann, it was really through your encouragement I learned how to look at the world in the eye and say what's essential for the world, politicians, and policymakers to hear. Although Dr. Swann and I have worked, discussed, and addressed a number of global, national, and local issues, and we've been together in a number of rallies and demonstrations, as I said, I'm not here to address the politician. I want to share with you who Dr. Swann is in the eyes of Iraqis who had the privilege to meet him long before his involvement in politics, and to show how his genuine concerns about humanity does not start nor does it end here. Dr. Swann, March 21st, 2004, I went with you to the Calgary airport to wish you a safe trip to Iraq. Deep inside, I really wished if you've never taken that step, and I really hoped that his trip would be canceled. However, when the time to disappear behind the boarding gates was due, I grabbed your hand, if you remember that moment, and asked you, do you really want to do this? Absolutely. And if you know Dr. Swann, when he says that word, he is so sure about the decision that he just made. Of course, your one-word answer did not relieve any of my attention, so I wanted to be clear on why I didn't want you to go. So I said, but I really don't want you to go because what if you... And I stopped there, and he finished my sentence. You mean killed? And if you know Dr. Swann very well, this is another specialty of his. He knows how to finish your sentences for you when you struggle. And of course, he continued, and he ended his sentence by another sentence, his one more sentence, by another real sentence that's still resonating with me until today, and I would never forget it till the day I leave this earth. He said, well, if I get killed, maybe it's time for the world to realize that the life of an Iraqi worth just as much as the life of Canadian. And if you're wondering how his trip went at that time, I'll share with you what Dr. Swann first email from Iraq was, and what did he say in that email. I keep record. I know, you should be really careful from that on.
I've learned that since.
Well, here he goes. I spend the day seeing live people and projects. I'm about to be dressed up in Arabic male clothing. I'm not sure if he found the right size though. So I may be less apparent. The death of Hamas leader has enraged most of the people here, so extra care is needed. I feel relatively safe through... sorry, I have to start this. I feel relatively safe, though, and met many who have come and gone this month. Everything is bustling, and military are visible frequently on the main roads. People here greatly appreciate interest from the outside world. I'm blessed to be with very committed people on the ground who also believe we must build bridges between our worlds urgently. So there's another message, building bridges between divided parts of the world. In speaking to me, he said, you may be correct about the sadness and despair in the eyes of the Iraqis. I also saw hope and determination and love in those I was meeting and working with in Iraq and in Jerf. Love still lives in Iraq. Inshallah, God willing, in solidarity for peace. Blessings, friends, David. Dr. Swann, since the day I met you, my life has never been the same. You've been a great father, mentor to me, the close friend I know and I can always depend on and count on. You have had inspired me in a number of ways, and it's with a great honor for me to join you, family, and the friends today and be part of this great day to celebrate your 60th birthday. And this is an inside joke, and I think you only would know what I'm talking about. While I was typing my speech, every time I typed the word Dr. Swann, I could hear his voice in the background saying, it's David. Lastly, Dr. Swann, if what I shared today sounds a bit of exaggeration, it was probably because I used your own words wrapped with your genuine integrity and kindness. Happy birthday.